Welcome again for briefings. Ukrainian armed forces launched total counterattack to Russians. Now we have 700,000. So what you see is the result of the work of 700,000 people who are fighting and defending our territory, Zelensky said. From the point of view of the amount of forces used by the Russian Federation, which deployed everything, reserves, silent mobilization, etc., they relocated a lot of troops, a really huge amount, said the president during his appearance on the Ukraine 24 television station. He added that the amount of troops deployed by the Russian Federation would pose a challenge to any European country. But even if we would have added 100,000 soldiers, we wouldn't be able to stop Russia, Zelensky insisted. The Ukrainian Defense Forces maintain their defenses at the specified positions and continue to destroy the Russian invaders. Ukrainian President Vladimir Zelensky shared this in an interview with the hosts of the national media marathon. Ukrainian President Vladimir Zelensky said that the Ukrainian army has 700,000 soldiers fighting against the Russian occupation in Ukraine. In terms of the number of forces deployed by the Russian Federation, deploying everything, reservists, silent mobilization, etc., they have displaced a large number of soldiers. This is a really significant amount, the president said. The president also stressed that in order to counter Russia, the Ukrainian army should not have more than 250,000 soldiers, of which only 120,000 are on active duty, but much more. But even if we had added 100,000 soldiers, we wouldn't have been able to stop them. Now we are 700,000 people, so what you see is the result of the work of 700,000 people defending and fighting our lands. He said the president of Ukraine did not specify whether it is the armed forces of Ukraine exclusively or the Ukrainian Defense Forces in general, which in addition to the armed forces of Ukraine, also includes other security forces units. At the beginning of the war, the number of personnel in the armed forces of Ukraine was about 250,000. According to the laws of Ukraine, it cannot exceed 261,000 people, including 215,000 soldiers. However, this number may increase in a special due to reserve and mobilized personnel. It was recently announced that the regional defense forces of the armed forces of Ukraine has reached approximately 110,000 soldiers. In addition, more than 700 voluntary regional community formations have been established. Territorial defense receives not only Ukrainian-made weapons, but also Western ones. Before the full-scale invasion, the plan is to form more than 150 battalions as part of the deployment of the regional defense system in Ukraine. The armed forces of Ukraine will unite. More than 150 battalions and 25 brigades will form a district, a brigade. Since the first days and weeks of war, the most complicated military situation has been in Kharkiv, Chernihiv and Mariupol. For more than a month, the Russian army shelled Kyiv and its outskirts. Several suburbs of Kyiv were almost completely destroyed: Bucha, Irpin, Makarov, Borodyanka. Local residents of the Kyiv districts of Borshchahivka and Holosiv reported that combat had been occurring along the city's outskirts in March. Kyiv's Territorial Defense Forces managed to push the invaders back. Currently, the Russian invaders are attempting to establish control over the non-occupied portions of Donetsk and Luhansk oblasts. The Russian army controls some territories in Zaporizhia, Kherson and Kharkiv oblasts. However, the Ukrainian army is conducting its own counter-offensive operation there. On April 22, the Russian government officially stated that its goal for the second phase of the war is to establish full control over Ukraine's Donbass and the Black Sea coast, in order to establish a land bridge from Crimea to Donbass. See you in the next briefing. For more news and briefings, kindly subscribe, like and leave a comment.